Hello, everyone. This is Jonathan here with another episode of Politics with Jonathan. And first of all, I hope you all had a wonderful Christmas with your friends and family and other loved ones. And I want to start off with a hot take. I think Janet Millis would do better against Graham Plattner against Susan Collins. Now, for all of you who don't know, who is Susan Collins, and also, what race am I talking about? Of course, the 2020 Senate election in Maine to start off with. Then we'll get to the 2026 Senate election in Maine. So, Susan Collins was elected in 1996 and has been serving since 1997, and as of right now is the only Republican senator in a state that Kamala Harris won in the 2024 election. And in the 2020 election, once he was up last time, he was facing off against Sarah Gideon, the Speaker of the Maine House of Representatives, I believe at the time. And as you can see through this, yeah, he wasn't doing too good against Gideon. Gideon was leading by around 4, close to 7. It looked like Collins would finally go down, partisanship would finally get the best of her. She had not been leading in a poll since June. And surprise, surprise, Republicans performed a lot better than they were saying they would in the polls. Which is pretty funny because they underestimated Trump in 2016 and they underestimated Trump in 2020. These pollsters really need to get better, but anyway, that's a topic for a whole nother video. But Collins won by 8.5, which was very surprising. People thought maybe she could eke out a victory, but yeah, an 8.5 win was not what they were expecting. It was bigger than her. It was smaller than her 2014 one. She won by like 31 points in 2014. So I want to look at something pretty interesting first, which is Susan Collins. Hold on. Approval rating back in 2020. So in late 2020, she had a favorability rating of only 43% compared to 51%. And if you were another, say, Republican in a Democrat state or Democrat in a Republican state, that would normally mean it's game over. But for Susan Collins, it wasn't, and she still won by a big margin. So I also want to look at this, which just was released to my knowledge. Where's it at? Okay, it's here. Okay, there we go. So, according to this poll, only 38% of voters have a favorable opinion of Susan Collins in Maine compared to 54% of an unfavorability rating. So now I want to go back to the 2026 Senate election in Maine. Okay, there we go. We have it. So the two main candidates in the Democrat primary are Janet Mills, the governor of Maine, and Graham Plattner, the oyster farmer. And as of right now, Graham Plattner was leading earlier on. Janet Mills has taken a slight lead as of right now. I think this race is just going to get tighter and tighter as we go along, but I want to look at why I said in the beginning Graham Plattner is a weaker candidate. Okay, it's one more back, I believe. There we go. So Graham Plattner has had some very bad controversies. He had a Nazi tattoo that was on him. He's used a lot of slurs, bad jokes. He's called white rural Americans racist and stupid and called himself as a communist and socialist, and that does not fly well in moderate Maine, where Susan Collins is moderate and Angus King is moderate, and Janet Millis, even though she's not moderate, still tried to masquerade as a moderate. So, if we go back here, I think, as of right now, Susan Collins more than likely will run for re-election. She's not officially announced, she's only expressed interest. She thinks she'll probably be running. I think she'll probably confirm in the next month or two. She really is running out of time. I'm surprised she hasn't confirmed yet already. It's late December. She's really taking her time there. I think at the end of the day, If I had to put my money on it, this would be an incredibly close primary, and it will be down to the wire. But I'd have to say Graham Plattner is right now would probably eke out the victory. And I'd say that would basically squash the Democrats' chance in Maine. I would say if Graham Plattner won with all of his controversies and being a lot more liberal, I would say Susan Collins probably defeats him with a lean R victory. I would say if it is Janet Mills, the governor of Maine. And by the way, so he's a pretty strong electoral candidate. He defeated Paul Page, who was the governor of Maine from 2011 to 2019 by 13 points in 2022. I think it'll probably be tilt R for Collins at the end of the day. I would probably say Democrats would have to have a quite good night to end up flipping Maine. I'd say Maine is just one of those very weird cases. Specifically, you have the New England states. You have like Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont, where they're just all over the place. New Hampshire has a Republican trifecta in the state legislature and a governor and lieutenant governor, but they still vote for the Democrat on the presidential level. From what I've heard, they're a lot more libertarian there. But anyways, I'm getting off track. I think that race will be tilt R if Janet Mills is the nominee, and I'd say Maine flips probably after North Carolina, after Michigan, after even Georgia. I think they will have a tough time flipping this race, but I think it is doable for the Democrats. They've had their best been since 1996 with Susan Collins and Joseph Brennan. He was also the governor of Maine from, I believe, 1979 to 1987. I may be wrong on that, but he ran against Susan Collins when she was running at first, and she was defeated by 5-point margin. Also, since this video is a bit short, Susan Collins and Angus King did run against each other once. It was during the 1994 election. Yeah, 1994 in Maine, where it was Susan Collins and Angus King, and there was a couple of other candidates. It was a very interesting race where Angus King ended up securing his first term as governor. But I think at the end of the day, Collins will either eke out a victory or relatively comfortably win a victory. And before you all go, I really, really hope you like and subscribe and comment what is your favorite thing to do during a New Year celebration. Because talking about the liking and subscribing and commenting, the more people that we get to like, the more people that we get to subscribe, and the more people that we get to comment, it allows us to truly spread this brand that we're building of nonpartisan politics and election predictions, because I have my own feelings on which party I'm affiliated with and all of that, but I don't have that bias in these videos. I'm looking at this from a objective standpoint, and I really hope you all have been enjoying that so far. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I should be back probably in a couple of days, and goodbye.